What's up, Gunners? Gonna do a scaled takedown run this time. I'm gonna use a build I've been messing with lately, with a redistributor and the hyper focus. I also have 125 Baranoids, and I've ran it with both, and just hands down, I feel like I can say that consecutive hits is Mose's best anoint. It's better than the 125 because you don't get any reduction against shields and armor like the fire does. There's just no downsides to it, and Moze it's pretty easy for Moze to keep that at the full 200%. So it's just the best all-around anointment, and you don't have to worry about whether you have your Iron Bear cooldown to hop in to reproc the anointment. If say you want to switch to your other weapons or whatever, you can just switch whenever you want. I think you lose the bonus when you switch a weapon, but it just builds right back up anyways, and you don't have to do anything special to do it, just the way you're already playing. It's just the all-around best Moze anoint, I would say. I am using a Blastmaster. I'll do a build video and link it in the description here. I'm not going to go over the build in detail right now, but I'll talk about why I use the Blastmaster instead of other class mods while I'm using non-splash weapons. And then I have a Victory Rush here. Same Big Boom Blaster I've been using for a while. Same nade I've been using for a while. I'll show the skill tree real quick. Just go down to Scorching RPMs. We have a short fuse setup. A lot of these points you can move around. You can get up to 4 in Drowning Brass if you change some of these points. Like you don't need the 3 in Scrappy. You don't need that 1 Russian Offensive. That would allow you to get 4 here, but this is the way I like it. I like the Scrappy points even because the redistributor in particular has quite a bit of recoil, so it just makes it less of a pain in the ass to hold down the trigger a lot, you know. So we have radiation damage. I didn't even notice that. I probably wouldn't have started the video if I did. I would have rolled for a more neutral mod, but I guess we'll just go with it. It's not that big of a deal. Enemies have some fire rate, so that's pretty preferable as far as the negative mod goes. The takedown, really the only ones I don't really like to have are the 2 projectiles and the extended explosion radius one, because for Wotan, his nades hit you from really far away with that radius one. So
I'm on a freaking roll.
and normally when I'm showing a build that I've just started, like a new build, making a video, I would do true takedowns, but kind of realizing that most people don't really do true takedowns, so I think I'm going to start focusing more on just the scaled version so that you get a better idea of what it's going to look like when you go and play it if you decide to use the build. Plus, sometimes the true takedown can get stressful and stuff, and I don't always feel like doing that anyways. So I'm going to start doing more scaled takedown runs instead. You probably noticed I haven't even hopped in Iron Bear once. I really only bring it out for either emergencies, or maybe I need a little extra grenade regen, or maybe I just want a little extra damage happening. It's very non-reliant on Iron Bears since we don't have to proc any anointments. The only thing we kind of have to do to keep our anointment going is make sure we have nades going out to fire in the skagged in dots on things. You can see the dots sticking here, that's keeping my anointment out. So you'll notice a lot of times when I'm on an enemy that's about to die, I'll turn and I'll throw a nade at another pressure enemy. That way I know that it's putting a dot on them or continuing to do damage in some way to keep my anoint up once the enemy I'm focusing on dies. Another thing I'll do is, like, we'll do it here. I get him low, and then I throw a nade on him and I leave him. That nade's gonna eventually probably kill him off, but in the meanwhile it gives me time to run to the next enemy and get something going there. So it's kind of the tactic I use to make sure I don't lose my anoint. I don't want to go for that enemy that's way back there. I'm just gonna get this guy summoned out here. So the redistributor is better for the packed mob engagements. Obviously it ricochets, so it does a real good job of dealing with mobbing when there's a lot of enemies around. We do have the hyper focus for when we're down to just like single target, 2 targets, something like that. It's better in that regard. And then the corrosive hyper focus, because the only time we're using corrosive really is when we are focusing on a big single target like Wotan or the Valkyries when we're on their armor and stuff. So it's better at the single target stuff than the redistributor is. It's got that wide when you shoot it like that T-shaped projectiles come out, and if your target's big enough, those will hit as they're expanding, kind of like the spring epicenter does. And the conference call, that's what makes them strong against boss type enemies and stuff. And that hyper focus, like the ZV1 or whatever the fuck it is, that has the same effect. Another reason, like right now, I'm gonna pull out Iron Bear just so I don't have to spam as many nades, making sure I'm doing damage, because Iron Bear will also help keep your annoying up. So that's another time I'll bring it out. I feel like this, I could run over here and he's over there putting dots on shit and helping me keep up on the anointment. So I got that guy low, I'm gonna throw a nade on him and walk away, go on to the next thing. So continuing to stack my consecutive hits, or keep it stacked anyways, while I'm moving on to the next target. I'm just gonna focus on the boss here. Fuck those ads. Oh, that was annoying. I hate these dogs, they're so irritating. I do want to take this guy out because he does a lot of damage too, so. Those badass Spec Ops commandos are priority targets. Oh. Thought I was going to have a badass dog in front of me, so I switched to my corrosion, but they're just leapfrogging around the map like they do. I think there's still some shield left on this boss. Where the fuck is it? Oh no, there isn't. I have a lot of vampire points. I'll show you real quick. I have 7 in vampire. I could have 8 if I took one out of there. 28% of my missing health for each nade, so I don't really have to spam nades very much, honestly, to stay alive. And real heavy fire, I'll spam them a bit, like on the bridge in some cases, but for the most part, as long as I have 1 nade or 2 nades out there, I'm getting a sufficient amount of healing. I tried not to let that guy get finished off, but because I wanted to keep my consecutive hits going, but I accidentally killed him, so it is what it is. Even though this guy's meleeing me, I'm not too worried about it killing me. Sigrid is the one I want to take out because she starts doing that shock throwing shit. I can get down out of nowhere. So yeah, Valkyries were pretty easy. As usual, they drop trash. Kind of talk about, this isn't the build video, but I'll talk about why I use the Blastmaster instead of the Green Monster or the Minesweeper or the Bloodletter. Now, you could do this build exactly how it is. Well, not with the Bloodletter. If you were going to use a Bloodletter, you'd have to change points around to make it make sense. But for the most part, you could use this build exactly how it is without changing much with any class mod. It works. I've done the takedown with Minesweeper. I did the takedown with the green monster. The same exact setup. I did not bother with the Bloodletter because I do not like 1 HP builds. Whoa. Okay. Well, that was it. I just got fucked by a barrel. Where the fuck are the spawns? Come on. Oh god. Of course, the first thing is a fucking heavyweight. I might not be able to get up in time. Oh man, that was really annoying. So be mindful of your barrels. Don't be stupid and run around the corner and have a barrel explode for no reason on you. I wasn't even doing anything about it. God damn it. I hate the barrels sometimes.
Back to the fight.
Anyways, it works they're all pretty close to how good they are. I find the Blastmaster to be my favorite choice for a couple reasons. The damage in this particular setup is better. If I use Green Monster, I do want to change the skill points around. I would get some more mag size on it. And even so, the reason why I don't like it is number one, I don't like feeling like I have to hold my trigger all the time in order to keep my corrosive and my splash bonus up, which that's a requirement of the Grey Monster. Every time you let go of your trigger, no matter what is going on, you lose those bonuses and they have to start over. So I don't like that at all. And also, with the Green Monster, since it doesn't come with redistribution, if you don't spec down into Forge, by the way, you can see that that's open. It's kind of the skip that you can do here, but I'm just going to kill these guys because I don't want them chasing me down later, which they will sometimes do. Anyways, with the Green Monster, I was not able to do a setup that I could go along without reloading. It adds a couple points of Scorch and RPMs. It does not have the redistribution, which is the big thing. I can't get 2 out of 1, so the only way I was able to make a build where I didn't have to reload with that was if I went into Forge, which is just a damage loss no matter how you look at it. Made it work. I did a run with it. I just didn't like it. Now, as far as Minesweeper, it's great too. I have splash bonuses on my Minesweeper comm. I have nade bonus on my artifact. You know, I'm all set up for it. It does have redistribution, so that's not an issue at all. The problem with that is the damage is not consistent. I like more consistent. I like to do the same damage every time to an enemy, regardless of RNG procs. And with the Minesweeper, it's not boosting my short fuse at all, so I'm taking a damage hit there, and in order to have the good damage, which it can do amazing damage, but you have to hope that you get chain procs, which means like I'll take a shot, it'll hit a crit, and you also have to get crits. So you get a crit, it procs a nade, that nade procs another nade, and that's kind of what you're looking for, because each time it procs a new one, the damage gets higher and higher. That's just not my playstyle. I don't like hoping I get those chain procs, and a lot of times I don't get them. So, and then when it comes down to Wotan and the better half and stuff, first of all, the Wotan, he's hard to crit in the first place. The better half is flying, so you're not going to get those micronades on the better half. It's just not going to hit it unless it happens to be flying real low, which it does do sometimes. So I don't like the Minesweeper either, even though it does work great with the build. And I might use it actually, like if I was going to take this build and go kill some bosses or something, I'd probably put on my Minesweeper. Now the Green Monster, I don't like it. It's nice against armored targets. It gives you that corrosion, so it does boost your damage a little bit against them. But I found that with this Blastmaster, and the fact that I'm using short fuse, and the fact that these guns both proc short fuse a lot, that I got a significant amount of damage out of it. It was very noticeable between all the other comms. Even the Green Monster, it out damages the Green Monster unless you're able to go however long it takes to get that 100% splash bonus on the Green Monster. Again, I wasn't able to go without reloading, and so I had to let go of my trigger. And also, you can see like right now, I let off the trigger. I would have lost that bonus, that splash bonus. So that's why I don't like that, even though it does work. It's just, this is way more consistent. Always having the good damage. My short fuse damage is really good. You get a lot of short fuse procs. It's just, I find it to be better. And not only that, it's always boosting my nades, so, and the radiation explosions as well. If anything happens to get hit by those, they're going to be stronger. And the fact that it comes with Vampire, so I'm able to have a very high Vampire level. So my healing is way more consistent, way easier to deal with. I don't have to sit here like you see a lot of people playing just doing this, and they pretty much have to stay alive. You know, I don't have to do that, even though I probably could get away with it. I can manage my nades a lot better. I can go a long time without throwing them. I can be more reactionary. Like if I actually need them to deal with the damage I'm taking, then I'm throwing them. If I don't, then I'm just proccing my annoyance and keeping up the consecutive hits with them. So I'm not having to just constantly throw. So those are the reasons I like the Blastmaster. It's mostly convenience, but it's also consistency. I gotta be careful with these dogs bringing my nades back in my face. I can't even see what's ahead of me. What's this? Oh, hey, hack on. I'm gonna actually switch the corrosion on him just to burn him down a little better. I hate those things. At least they die fairly easily though. So as you can see, if I have the option to hold down the trigger all the time, if I want, I'm not gonna run out of ammo. But I also at the same time, I don't have to. So that's the major reason I prefer the Blastmaster over the Green Monster, even if the Green Monster maybe is a little better against armored targets and stuff. But the other thing is, it may be good against the armored targets, but that corrosion damage takes a big hit against shield and flesh, so I don't find it to be all that amazing. I think this gun and the other one, the Hyperfocus, they both shoot fast enough. They do a pretty decent base damage. That short fuse benefits from Blastmaster in a fairly good way. Actually, I should be using the Hyperfocus on these guys. They're fat targets, and there's not a lot to change into, so you can see it takes them out pretty good. I'm going to reload my weapons here because my backpack is maxed out and I'm starting to get a lower and lower mag count, so I don't want to end up having issues due to that. I probably wouldn't affect me at all, but better safe than sorry. Make sure we have room to pick up a little ammo if we happen to. Make sure we are at max ammo before we get into this.
Now that is definitely your target. Light that giant bastard up.
Let's light that giant bastard up. So we're gonna use the Hyperfocus for him because again he's a big fat target and it just does work. Of course, our only corrosion weapon we're using right now is the Hyperfocus, so it's the one we're going to be for armor phases. And if we happen to get armor adds, like the robots and stuff, oh, this dog is going to annoy the fuck out of me. Might be a good idea right here to use the redistributor just to deal with some of these adds, but I'm going to try to burn the phase quickly instead. Alright, that went well. We didn't get any ad spawns, so now we can just focus on it. Burning Wotan. See, I don't really have to spam nades at all. Just kind of throw them with the cadence. Make sure at least every 6 seconds we're reprocking our anointment. I hop an Iron Bear here just so I could stay safe while I'm trying to line up with the bucket circle, which I'm stupid it's going the other way. Oh, that hurt. Got a little too close there. We do have a badass war dog who's probably hitting me in the back now and then too, so. I noticed for some reason at this stage in the fight, oh fuck, I expected to get through all of his armor, damn. I ended up getting a couple of doors. I'm cryoed right now, even though you can't see it on my screen, it won't let me slide. Where the fuck is the better half? I like to take out the better half first when I'm running this. And one thing I want to point out, a tip, don't throw nades at the better half because they'll spend a lot of time chasing it down instead of actually healing for you. So it's a bad target. You want to throw it at things that are sitting there stationary that you know that they're going to be bouncing off of and healing you. I'm just going to take these guys out so I don't have to fuck with them while I'm killing Wotan. this circle around yet? I think I actually missed my opportunity to get my shots in. Got kind of beat up by that shit, so we hop in Iron Bear real quick. Get jumped on by a Kraken. No big deal. Again, I want to point out how little I'm having to spam mids. A lot of that's just due to the fact that I have that high vampire, so as long as I have 1 or 2 nades bouncing off stuff, I'm going to stay alive. You'll notice I'm not aiming for his crit spot. This gun actually does better just aiming for the fat spots, so even though a crit will give you more damage, it's going to hit him more times, quite a bit more times, if you're aiming for a wide spot on his body. So that's why you see me do that. Do the same thing on the Valkyries. It's kind of hit or miss on them. Sometimes you do better hitting their crit spot, but for the better half and for him, you just aim for their fat spots, so that T does as much as possible to them. So that's it. Pretty good run. Didn't have any issues. It seemed pretty fast to me. I mean, it's not world record speed or nothing, but yeah. I'll be linking a build video later.